What time is it? Let me check my watch. Oh, it's bone o'clock. In olden days, a glimpse of femur was only for morbid dreamers, but you're not alone. Bring anything bones. Two goofy gals with deathly interest go on a skeleton inquest in your headphones. Anything bones.
Hello and welcome to Anything Bones. I'm Sophie Schwartz.
And I'm Katelyn Hart. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bone Talk Time.
It's Bone Talk time. Put down your projects and your weary troubles and think only of your bones.
Yeah, if you're driving in the car, if you're at work, if you're in the shower, that's cool. If you're
hoeing the fields.
Yeah. Whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a nice time. And welcome to your ear holes. We're going to talk about bones today.
Yeah. It's been a lovely 4th of July weekend. The heat has evened out. Thank you for all of your messages of concern for our well-being over the heat. Now it's just enduring endless fireworks, which shouldn't even be happening because we are very much on the West Coast. We very much should not be doing fireworks.
Fireworks were not... I wasn't feeling the fireworks last night. I did thoroughly sleep through them with the window open, so... I don't know. Happy 4th of July. Doesn't feel like there's a lot to celebrate this year, but...
Nope.
We did have a nice weekend. We saw Nicole Byer perform stand-up comedy where we were at a venue where there were actual people there. And we all had our masks off, and it was so crazy and fun.
Yeah, it was a real trip, but it's electrifying to get to see live performance again. It's one of my favorite things.
I also felt like it was cathartic in a way to see stand-up about the pandemic and quarantine and jokes about stuff like that. It felt good. It felt different.
Yeah, I was worried once the pandemic jokes started coming out that I was going to be like, no, I don't want to hear about this. Like, we just did this. I'm not ready to laugh about it. But
like a too soon moment for you?
Either like a too soon or like been done. Like, it's hard to, I guess, we're just on the cusp of it, but I think it's hard to come up with a super original pandemic joke. Yes, we were all locked inside. Yes, the single people did not have sex. Yes, there are some people who don't want to wear masks.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It was a good time. And we got to go down to Tacoma, which is a fun little treasure in Washington.
Yeah, and we got to hang out with one of our closest friends, Shelby, at this great little bar parkway and enjoy the Tacoma summer air. All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, is it time to talk bones now? We've done enough banter. Time for the business.
Yes, enough banter. To the bones, women.
All right. I'm going to go first this week because I decided to pick something horrible and gruesome. And we're going to end it on something lighter with Sophie. So.
As is our old formula.
Yeah, this is a tried and true method for us. So I went with a local story this week. Local to the Seattle area. Ooh. So my sources were Seattle Times, an article from King 5, Kiro 7, WestsideSeattle.com, and then also Inside Edition did a video about it. So this happened on June 19th, 2020.
Wow. Oh.
Police responded to the 1100 block of Alki Avenue Southwest.
Oh my God.
After getting a call about some suspicious bags on the beach near the water.
Oh my God, you're doing this?
Yeah, bitch.
Let her rip.
Yeah, I'm doing the murders of Jessica Lewis and Austin Wenner.
This was a huge story in Seattle last year. Like, huge.
Well, it happened in June 2020, so we're pretty fresh in the pandemic. Everybody is freaking out all the time. Cheeto Breath is president still. We're freaking out politically, physically, emotionally, mentally, everything. And we're all alone
socially.
In quarantine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge time. If you remember, it was a huge time of social upheaval in the Pacific Northwest as well.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter movement. Mm-hmm. So when I remember hearing about this, and we'll get into this a little more later, but I do remember thinking distinctly, like, wow, even COVID doesn't stop serial killers from killing people.
Exactly. I was like, this is the last fucking thing we need is a fucking serial killer running around our city doing what Katelyn will tell you they did.
Yeah. So we're on Alki Beach. It's June 19th, 2020, and a bunch of teenagers have found a suitcase on the rocks near the water, and then they also find another bag in the water. So why were these teenagers there? They were filming.
What were they filming?
Hold on. God. They were TikToking. They were using this app called Randonautica, which is sort of like a scavenger hunt or like geocaching app. It sounds like to me. Inside Edition talked about it just briefly, and it seems to me the way they explained it was that the purpose is to like help people explore the city around them, and they just send them like random coordinates to go to. And so these teens are using this app, right? And I guess they're filming because they're using the app, so they're filming the experience. And you've seen the video, right, Soph?
Yes. How I found out about this was I saw an article that said TikTokers find dead body on beach. Like,
it's a huge story. It's a massive story.
Yeah. And if you watch the video, because they filmed opening up one of these bags.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, it's not graphic and you can't see anything. But as soon as they open the bag, the children know what they have found.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to see the video with some commentary, the video from Inside Edition shows a lot of the video, and you do see them opening it, and all we see are black trash bags. And they ended up calling the police because of the smell.
Yeah, they open it up and they go, oh my God, the smell. Like, yeah. Because they think it's drugs or money or something like that.
They're kind of joking about it at the top of the video. And then by the time the suitcase is open, we're not loving it anymore.
It's not as funny.
Somebody says in the video, like, okay, so she's calling 911 because we're going to see if this is a dead body or if it's like food or something. And of course, we know it was a dead body. So I just want to say this Randonautica, I don't know if this is its own app or if it is like a part of TikTok, but it doesn't seem like this app had anything to do with this murder. Inside Edition did like interview the creator of the app, and he seemed like a normal person who's just like absolutely horrified that this had happened.
God, that's unfortunate.
Well, he literally called it an unfortunate coincidence.
I mean, it's horrifying, but it is, I don't know, it smacks of a Stand By Me kind of moment for these kids, where they didn't know what they were looking for, but that's gonna be a defining trauma in their lives. I'm so sorry, kids.
I was just gonna say they're never gonna fucking forget that.
Oh, they will not, but hopefully their therapists help them through it.
Yeah, I encourage all of them to get into therapy. So, of course, eventually the King County Medical Examiner's Office identifies the victims as 35-year-old Jessica Lewis and 27-year-old Austin Wenner.
Oh.
Awful. They had apparently been together for 8 years.
Oh.
Yeah, really sad. Both died of gunshot wounds. And, of course, both of their deaths were ruled a homicide. Duh.
Yeah.
So, Jennifer's cause of death was multiple gunshot wounds. Austin died of just one gunshot wound. They were also beaten and shot prior to the dismemberment. And it was estimated that this happened around June 9th, 2020.
Wow.
So pretty quickly, we know who the main suspect is. It is their landlord in good old Burien.
Burien.
This is 62-year-old Michael Dudley. And the couple was renting a room at his house, which is on Ombaum Boulevard South. I don't know if I'm saying that right. In our state, in Burien, Washington.
In beautiful Burien. Come visit Burien.
You're not going to like it, but you might tolerate it.
It smells like a rotting fish's butthole.
I've never really been to Burien, so I don't really want to shit on it too hard. Like, I just moved outside of Seattle because I was tired of Seattle. So, like, I don't know. Maybe I have some sympathy for Burien. And we shouldn't just shit on it immediately.
I don't know. I enjoy to shit on Burien. I'm not afraid.
It's fine. Okay, I'm afraid. That's it. I'm a coward.
That's your problem, Katelyn. You're a coward.
Okay. So, why do they suspect Michael Dudley, you ask? Well,
I do.
There is a witness who was, it sounds like Dudley either, and when I say Dudley, I don't mean Dudley from Harry Potter. I just want to put it out there right now.
Yeah, but that is who I am picturing.
You actually can. You can. Let me send you a picture of
you
this
can
guy.
Picture him. You can't do that.
I mean, of course you can picture him however you want, but I didn't actually intend to send this picture, but let me take a quick screenshot. Because
I gotta see, yeah.
You gotta see this fucker. He does not look like a murderer. I mean, he looks like a gentle old man, if I'm being honest, and that just proves to me that you never fucking know what you're dealing with.
I mean, it's true. I feel like, you have the camps of the, like, Ed Geins and the Golden State Killer who, like, you look at them and you go, oh, yeah, yep. But then, of course, you have your Bundys. And, we were talking about Richard Ramirez a while ago. And I was like, isn't that the one people thought were hot? And you were like, I'm not sure. And then 5 minutes later, you were watching the documentary. You were like, yeah, they're starting to talk about how they think he's hot.
I just couldn't fathom anybody thinking he was attractive. So I just was like, no, that's not true. And then it immediately happened. Did you get the picture?
I just got the picture. Holy shit. Katelyn is entirely right. Like, you must put this photo on the Instagram. Because you would not be like, this guy gunshot and beat people to death. He looks like he might play Santa on a seasonal basis.
He looks like he lives in Burien.
He does. Thank you, Katelyn. Now you're fucking get on my level.
All right. So there's a witness who is moving into this fucking guy's home also in June 2020. I don't know if he had multiple rooms or no, I think she was actually moving into Jennifer and Austin's room, which is really freaky, like that he had that lined up somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's moving in. I don't know if it's an Airbnb or a permanent situation. Anyway, you know what I mean. So this witness says that Dudley's glasses were broken and he had scratches on him at this time. And she's taking a shower that night, and when she opens the door to the bedroom where she's going to stay, he is like, there are all these clothes everywhere. And she said she saw a hand sticking out of, like, from underneath the clothing.
Worst nightmare. Worst nightmare. Oh my God.
So this blows my mind. So Dudley's like, I gotta clean this up. Can I take you somewhere else?
No, you cannot take me somewhere else.
This is a red flag. At this point, you need to get out of there.
Yes, it's a red flag. Get him off the field. No.
So she's leaving, thank God. And she's a witness now, so she's okay. And she says that she saw him laying out pieces of plastic in the basement, presumably to dismember the body, more like the body parts. And when she asked Dudley about what was going on, he allegedly told her, quote, let's put it this way, his gun misfired and mine didn't.
Oh my fucking God. How do you... I mean,
can you imagine if this was your landlord? Can you imagine if this was your landlord?
I cannot. That's the scariest thing in the world to me, is like your landlord is a murderer, because you're not safe in your fucking home, because they have keys. They can get in whenever they want to fucking murder you.
It was this guy's house. This is Dudley's house that they're like staying in a room in. He has access to them at all times. And
then to dismember them in like, this is the thing that just so blows my mind about killers like this. Like, to then make the cool and calm decision to dismember these people in your own home, and this lady is like hanging around. Yeah, he invited somebody to take over the staying in the room. So it's like, really, dude? Like, don't you think you should have some privacy for that? Also, like, come on, guy. You don't need to sublet that quickly. Come on. No. It's all bad. So, obviously, this is pretty incriminating. I would say so. I would say that's some hook, line, and sinker type testimony. So detectives are searching his house, and then some neighbors pull up and they're like, okay, we called 911 previously on this guy because we heard gunfire and yelling inside this house on June 9th. And Seattle police confirm that they responded that night, but, quote, left the residence a short time later when nobody answered the door. Come on, SPD. I'm kind of like, if you get a report of gunshots, don't you think you have to, isn't that imminent danger? Like, don't you have to go inside if you get a report of gunshots? I mean, I don't know what was happening exactly, but this doesn't make any sense to me that nobody went inside to check. Well, if you hear gunshots and then all you get is silence, I think it doesn't take a genius to parse that out. Somebody might be shot, somebody might be dead or injured, or somebody might be unable to open the door in a hostage situation. Like, there's a lot that could be going on. So just to get no answer and be like, okay, bye. I don't know. I don't get that. So, of course, we don't exactly know what Dudley's motive was, but there's evidence that he was angry at the couple for not paying their rent and for, quote, bringing potential criminal activity to the Ombaum house. Oh, they're bringing potential criminal activity to the Ombaum house? So this is interesting, and I don't know where this is going to go. My sources said that family members told the police that Austin had been recently assaulted. Some guys had shown up at the house with guns and beat him and his partner, Jennifer. And one of the family members told police he didn't know what had prompted this, but that it might have been related to, quote, criminal fraud activity. So I don't know. This is where that sort of part of the story is just over. I don't really know if that's just like Dudley trying to explain away why he hated them by like making up this assault,
or this assault happened and he's taking it like it was the victim's fault, which I'm sure it wasn't. Like, I don't think
the thing. Yeah, that's the thing that blows my mind, is that, like, that doesn't really, like, logically, like, follow, because I don't know if that was happening at my house and I was a crazy gun-toting, shooting kind of person, I would want to, you know, maybe shoot the people who were causing the trouble versus the guy getting beaten up. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, they've got a search warrant. They find bullet holes, bullet strikes, spent rounds, and blood in an upstairs room.
Gee, sounds like murder.
Yeah, this is why they're searching the house and why all these neighbors show up. Jesus. So detectives interview Dudley, and obviously he denies everything, but he couldn't explain all the bullets. Duh. He's arrested, of course, in mid-August 2020, and he's booked into the King County Jail. He's eventually charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, and his bail is set at $5 million.
Whoop. There are only a handful of people in town who can pay that.
Yup. So Dudley had lived in this property for 15 to 20 years. So there were some longtime neighbors that, like, knew of him. And Catherine Rogers said, quote, "He was a nice man. He started out really, really well." I don't know what that means. He did admit to having these arguments with the victims, according to this article. He said, quote, he had charged them $1,500 a month in rent, but they were not able to pay it. Some neighbors say that they knew him for years, but that he had recently started behaving weird in, like, a weird way. So they're not sure if that had anything to do with it. The neighbor, Catherine, also noted that these trees had, like, all grown up around his house. And you can see some footage of it in the article. There's, like, a video, and you can't really see the house. Like, the trees are so grown over, and he probably wanted it that way.
I mean, but, like, I don't know about you, but there was definitely a couple of houses in my neighborhood growing up that, like, you know, the outside wasn't super taken care of and had that overgrown kind of creepy, we'd rather not be looked at kind of feel.
Yeah. So he's probably not gonna get out, hopefully. So anyway, all of these articles that I had looked at so far were from 2020. So I just Googled this guy's name, Michael Dudley. And the most recent article was about his bail hearing, which happened on March 3rd, 2021. So he's being represented by Bradley Barshis. I don't know. Barshis? Who knows?
Oh, you know,
Brad
Bradley.
Barshis. Braddy boy.
Oh, if your lawyer's name is Brad, I don't know how well
the other lawyer's name is Harry Steinmetz.
Harry Styles?
And they requested that the $5 million bail be reduced. Oh, shocker. They wanted it reduced to $500,000, and they wanted him to be allowed to get out of jail but be put on electronic detention at home. And the prosecuting attorney, which is a lady, Mary Barbosa, which is an exotic and fun name, pirate name.
Hey. Yeah. Hers is my favorite so far. She's the one I trust.
Of course, argued that these crimes are just horrific. Bodies were dismembered. Not all the body parts had been recovered. They have cell tower evidence that, like, puts him at home at the time of the crime, I guess. But that means that he was home with the victims at the time of the crime. The victims also live in his home. Got it? He's guilty.
He's home guilty. Is the crime scene. Yeah.
And so obviously the defense team was trying to get him out of it. They were like, well, he's been held for 6 months and the state hasn't completed its discovery of evidence because the bodies were in water for however long. So he's being, they allege that Mr. Dudley's being treated unfairly and he should get a reduced bail. They had 11 letters attesting to his, like, good behavior and good reputation and good standing in the community. Yeah.
I don't give a shit about any of that. He cut people.
And his sister testified on his behalf. Like, she doesn't think he did this. Yeah.
I feel bad for her. That sucks. That's horrible that your brother may have done. Because this is all alleged.
He hasn't been convicted, but it seems like he did this.
This is all alleged. If anyone's listening.
Yeah, as of this recording, he has not been convicted. So get ready to feel even worse. Jessica Lewis's aunt, her name is Gina Jask. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry, Gina. She is very familiar with the case, and she made a statement on behalf of the Lewis family. I'm not going to read all of it because it's really sad and long, but I'm going to just give you a piece of it. Quote, "Most of all, it's for my family's sake and her children's sake that this man remain in jail." By the way, sorry, Jessica Lewis was a mother of 4. I didn't say that at the top when I should have.
One of the victims?
She was a mother of 4. So,
God.
Yeah, awful. Let me start over. So, quote, "Most of all, it is for my family's sake and her children's sake that this man remain in jail. He has already bestowed so much pain and sorrow to my family and to Austin's family and even his own. Please don't risk another family becoming victims for the sake of Mike Dudley's accounts of fairness. As it's not fair, he took 2 young lives away, scarring and forever hurting everyone who knew and loved Jessica and Austin. There are reasons why people are scared to death of this man, possibly more afraid of him and what he's capable of than telling the truth to the police." Yeah.
Wow.
And thank God the judge denied the request. So his bail is still $5 million.
Good job.
And that is the latest that I could find on this fucking piece of shit.
Wow. Amazing job, Katoon. Like, that story is horrific.
Yeah.
Like, but I thank you for giving us an update on it, because like we said, it was all over, the city last year. Everyone was freaking out that there was a serial killer, but it's almost even more fucked up that like it's just this one man's version of justice, like Jessica's aunt said.
Yeah, it's really sad. And these victims they were about our age, she's a little older, he's a little younger. Like I said, she was a mother of 4. They have families that really loved them, and they were killed for possibly a rent dispute, but it's like, that's no excuse for killing somebody. If you want money from somebody, you're not going to kill them. You're going to keep them alive so they can pay you. And it doesn't make any sense. Clearly, this guy, Dudley, planned this and wanted to do this. And there's, in some ways, to me, I'm not a fucking trained psychologist, but to me, it doesn't seem like putting a dismembered body in garbage bags in a suitcase and like throwing it into Puget Sound. I can't tell if that's like him trying to get rid of the body forever or if he wants it to be found. Both suitcases were found, so it's like, how hard did he try to hide this? And did he really dismember the bodies for ease of like transport, or did he just want to do it because he's fucked up,
That's the thing, is that it almost smacks to me of like an opportunity to kill to people who are, unsuspecting, and to have complete control over the situation because he allegedly killed them in his home. And, if that other woman hadn't been there, it's possible he could have gotten away with it for a little longer. But it's just so fucked. And anytime I hear about someone dismembering a person, I think to myself that part of their brain it has to be sick.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. Anyway, that's my horrific bone story. Local terror.
Well, keep us updated if you end up learning more about this case as it continues to develop.
I think we will learn more, hopefully, when there's if there's going to be a trial or if he's going to plead guilty. I don't know. This is very fresh news. I did want to quickly, before we move on, if there's anybody else like me who can't get enough information about the Golden State Killer, I'll Be Gone in the Dark did a follow-up episode since Joseph D'Angelo has been sentenced, and it is so good and it is so interesting, and it still is about Michelle McNamara, and oh my God, it was just so well done and so interesting. Interviews with some of the survivors, since all this has happened. Really good. So it's on HBO. The latest episode of I'll Be Gone in the Dark is crazy, sad, scary, and good.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know if you would. I don't think you would want to watch it.
Yeah. That kind of stuff is very scary to me. I can way more tolerate a jump scary horror movie than something like that, because I know that it really happened.
Yeah, as my mom would say, I don't know how you listen to that or watch that right before you're going to sleep, but I do. So if you do that too, you're not alone. #sweatygoth.
#sweatygoth. Yes, I had to stop myself from listening to My Favorite Murder in the nighttime, because I would fall asleep listening to it. Then I would wake up in the middle of the night to and then he violated the corpse. And I'm like, what? No.
I've been just listening to this while I sleep and get my REM cycles in. What information am I processing right now? How is this going to affect me? Subconsciously.
Please don't turn me into a psycho. Well, that was fantastic, Caitlin.
Thanks,
I love when you put your investigative hat on.
Dink. Dink. For those of you who can't see me, which is everybody but Sophie, I just pretended to tip my little hat when I said tink.
Yes, created in the theater of your mind.
Theater of punishment. What's that theater? What's that one that's really bad? Theater of the oppressed?
Theater of cruelty?
Yeah, theater of cruelty. There we go.
Both of those are a thing.
Anyway, I have a theater degree. Please continue.
I have a theater degree too. We have it from the same place. Okay, so to switch to something much lighter,
please,
I would like to talk about the Fenn Treasure.
Treasure. As Georgia and Karen would say, let's give credit where credit's due.
Exactly. Well, I was going to say, put on your eye patch, get on my boat. We're going treasure hunting 'cause this bone floats. We do a lot of pirate stuff.
I fucking love it. That was a complete surprise to me. What a delight.
Thank you. This is our new segment, which is related to pirate bones. My sources for this topic were an article from Scientific American, an article from CNN, an article from Wikipedia, New York Times, fennstreasure.com, outsideonline.com, and another one from CNN. All right, I teased you with treasure, so let's get into it. So, the Fenn Treasure is a cache of gold and jewels that was hidden by Forrest Fenn, who is an art dealer and author from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Shout out to Grace. And it was hidden in the Rocky Mountains in the United States.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So Forrest Fenn, he was born August 22nd, 1930, so his birthday is kind of close to mine. And he was a pilot in the United States Air Force, and he got up to the rank of major, so good for him. And he was awarded a Silver Star for his service in the Vietnam War, where he flew 328 combat missions in 365 days.
Whoa.
So he was working most of the time.
Yeah, very busy.
Yeah, so for like most of the days, he was flying combat missions. He then retired from the Air Force, and he ran the Aerosmith Fenn Gallery with his partner Rex Aerosmith.
Damn.
Who was not a member of Aerosmith.
They were born to do this work.
I know, right? And he also ran it with his wife, Peggy. So the gallery was in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and it sold a bunch of different stuff ranging from indigenous American artifacts, paintings, bronze sculptures, and other art. But they also sold some forgeries of some more well-known painters like Monet and Degas, a couple of others. And reportedly, they made about $6 million a year at this art gallery.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. So
it's a lot of money. And
too good to be true.
You know, too good to be true. I mean, honestly, if, you had an original Monet or Degas, like, that could be $6 million in and of itself. Your bullshit meter is going off, and as it should. He was up to some shit. So in 1988, Fenn was diagnosed with cancer and was unfortunately given a prognosis that was terminal. This event in his life actually inspired him to hide a treasure chest in an outdoor place with the purpose of creating a public treasure hunt.
I've heard of this. Did they talk about this on Bananas?
I think you're thinking of something that is still going on. Maybe.
Okay.
But this is like that. This is kind of the OG of that. So he had considered, this is what I love, is that he was like, what if I hid the treasure where I buried myself?
The treasure is me and my body.
The treasure is me and my body, and also gold, but mostly me.
Oh my God. But I'm guessing he decided not to do that.
As sick as hell as that would be, he did not do that, unfortunately. So in 2009, Fenn came into some conflict with authorities over antiquities laws. And this was all a part of Operation Cerberus Action.
Is this happening when he's alive or dead?
He's alive. He's still alive.
Okay.
It's 2009 and he's still alive. So this Operation Cerberus Action was a case that involved 256 Native American artifacts, including woven baskets, pots, sandals, axes, and other weapons that the FBI valued at about $335,685. And basically, in this operation, people were charged with violations of the Archaeological Resources Protection Act, which prohibits the excavation and sale of artifacts from public land or from indigenous land or from Native American graves. So his home was raided in 2009 as a part of this FBI operation. And there were several raids going on in the Four Corners area. And reportedly, they did find a couple of pieces of chainmail, some human hair, a feathered talisman, and a bison skull, which were confiscated by the FBI, but no charges were filed against him. But I just wanted to put that out there, that he was doing some shady shit with indigenous artifacts, which is very uncool. Please do not do that.
We don't like that here at this podcast, Anything Bones.
No. At Anything Bones, we have a very sound and specific policy about artifacts. It's the Monsters, Inc. policy, which is put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
Perfect. Perfectly said.
Thank you. So, this guy ends up recovering from his cancer.
Oh my God. Yes.
In 2010. Yeah. And so he decides to publish this book, The Thrill of the Chase, a memoir, which is collected short stories from his life. And in this book, he describes the treasure chest as containing gold nuggets, rare coins, jewelry, and gemstones. And so he went on to write that the chest is in the mountains somewhere north of Santa Fe. And he says that the stories in his book are clues to finding the treasure.
No.
Yes. Oh, and Katelyn, buckle the fuck up, because there's a poem that has 9 clues in it.
Oh my God. He Nick Caged it. He caged it.
He's caging it.
He's caging it. He's national treasuring the shit out of this.
Do you want to hear the poem?
Yes, mommy.
All right, here we go. This is Fenn's Treasure poem, and this is from FennTreasure.com.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so this is Fenn's Treasure poem. As I have gone alone in there with my treasure bold, I can keep my secret where and hint of riches new and old. Begin where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon down, not far, but too far to walk. Put it in below the home of Brown. From there is no place for the meek. The end is drawing ever nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek. Just heavy loads of water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease, but tarry scant with marvel gaze. Just take the chest and go in peace. So why is it I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answer I already know. I've done it tired, and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. Your efforts will be worth the cold. If you are brave in the woods, I will give you title to the gold.
That is too much. It's just like go into the woods and you might figure it out, is what I get from that jumble of words.
Yeah, that super long, weird poem. So his book prompted a crazy buck wild treasure hunt in the Rocky Mountains.
Duh.
Like, people immediately went out there and were like, yes, I am looking for this treasure. Because, so it could be, in Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, and it was said that the value of this chest was between $1 and $2 million.
Jesus.
So, like, people are motivated.
I would be.
Yeah. And people got up to some buck wild shit looking for this treasure. An unidentified man who was looking for the treasure was arrested in New Mexico in 2013 and charged for damaging cultural artifacts because he was digging beneath a roadside memorial for someone.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Not a good look, guy.
No, definitely not. In 2014, National Park Rangers ended up detaining Daryl Seller and Christy Strawn for having a metal detector and digging big holes in Yellowstone National Park.
What, were they on a date?
I don't know. She was like, bitch, I want new shoes. Let's find the fucking treasure.
Wow.
Then there was Scott Conway, who was cited by New Mexico State Police after he dug a giant hole near Heron Lake.
Oh, God.
It's a lot of people just digging big holes where they shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, the stakes are high. I get it.
Yeah, but some people really took it to another level because a Pennsylvania man named Robert Miller was arrested for burglary, breaking and entering, and criminal damage to property in 2018 when he broke into Fenn's property and was hauling away a large Spanish-style chest that he thought was the treasure.
Yikes. Is Fenn alive at that point?
He is.
Oh my God, he gets to just watch this chaos that he created.
Yeah, because it's estimated that more than 65,000 people by 2018 had been looking for this treasure.
Wow.
So, of course, if we're talking about this treasure, and we're talking about people who are looking for it, I have to unfortunately tell you that several people have died in this pursuit.
Oh, of course. I wondered when you were going to tell me something nasty.
You know, it's on this podcast. You're a fool if you thought there wasn't going to be death in this.
I know. I was waiting for it, I said.
I know. I'm talking to the listener.
Stop fighting with me.
I have no quarrel with you, Katelyn. All right. So one of the first people to perish because of this treasure hunt is Randy Bailu, who went missing in January 2016 and was found dead in July of that year. His body was discovered by workers along the Rio Grande, and an autopsy actually could not confirm his cause of death, but it's thought that he drowned.
Oh, God.
And his ex-wife was really pissed about this because she thought the treasure was a hoax and publicly was calling Forrest Fenn out for defrauding people, basically.
Well, yeah, she must have been pretty upset after her fiance, you said, died?
Ex-husband.
Well, okay, yeah, that's still upsetting.
It's still upsetting. They were married for a time. The next person is Jeff Murphy, who was age 53, and he was found dead in Yellowstone National Park on June 9th, 2017. He fell about 500 feet down a steep slope, and Yellowstone officials did not at first release the fact that he was looking for the treasure, but then KULR TV, which is like a TV station, they filed a Freedom of Information Act request, and they were able to report that Murphy's wife told them that he was indeed looking for the treasure.
Yeah. Ugh.
Next is Pastor Paris Wallace of Grand Junction, Colorado. And he told family members that he was going to go look for the treasure, but then he didn't show up for like a family meeting on June 14th of 2017. And his car was found parked near Tao Junction Bridge. And then his body was found about 5 to 7 miles away from there.
Do they know what happened to him?
He also drowned.
Oh, God.
There's this whole part in the poem that's talking about water. So a lot of people think that it's near a river.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Here's what I'm getting from all of this. Don't go treasure hunting by yourself.
No. And what kind of Forrest ends up saying a lot of the time about the treasure hunt is that it's just an excuse for like families and people to bond and like, you know, come together, and it's not about whether or not you find the treasure, it's about the hunt itself. But these people, of course, obviously really wanted the treasure.
Yeah.
Kind of going on with our list of people who have perished, we have Eric Ashby. He was 31, and he was found dead by the Colorado-Arkansas River on July 28th, 2017, which was a difficult year for this treasure.
Yeah, Jesus.
He perished when his raft overturned in the river, and he drowned.
Ugh.
And, of course, the last person, Michael Wayne Sexton, he was 53 as well, and he was found dead by rescuers on March 21st, 2020.
Damn.
And he was with another person who ended up later recovering. His name was Steve Inlow. And they had rented a pair of snowmobiles to look for the treasure, but they had gotten lost, and they were actually rescued, or one of them was rescued and the other was recovered at a site where they had actually been rescued once before doing the same thing.
Oh. They were really dedicated.
They were.
Damn it.
So by 2020, Fenn estimated that 350,000 people had searched for the treasure.
Wow.
Yeah. And on June 6th, 2020, Fenn posted on the Searcher blog, Thrill of the Chase, that the treasure had been found.
Holy shit. Who found it? Who got the golden ticket?
Ah, you didn't think it was going to get found, did you?
No, I didn't, actually.
Okay, so here's a quote from that blog post. Quote, and this is by Forrest Fenn himself. He loves his flowery writing. Quote, it was under a canopy of stars in the lush forested vegetation of the Rocky Mountains and had not moved from the spot where I hid it more than 10 years ago. I do not know the person who found it, but the poem in my book led him to the precise spot. I congratulate the thousands of people who participated in the search and hope that they will continue to be drawn by the promise of other discoveries. So the search is over. Look for more information and photos in coming days.
They don't know who found it.
So they do know who found it. This discovery was confirmed by over email between the finder and Fenn. The finder, he's purposefully trying to keep the finder's name anonymous. Like, he's purposefully kind of like lottery winners, you know?
Sure.
You don't want to be found because a lot of people also have been gunning for this treasure, so they might be pretty upset if someone else had found it. So on June 16th, Fenn released additional photos of himself examining the contents of the chest and looking over what was inside it. On July 22nd, Fenn decided to disclose. He wasn't going to say the exact location, but he let everybody know that the treasure was in Wyoming.
Oh.
So if you were looking anywhere else, sorry about it.
Shit out of luck.
Yeah. In December 2020, Jack Stufes, a medical student from Michigan, revealed that he was the one who found the treasure. And the reason that he decided to disclose his identity was because he was actually getting sued by another treasure hunter. And him and the Forrest Fenn family were getting sued by another treasure hunter. So his name was actually going to be out anyway.
Jesus.
Because of this lawsuit.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow.
Would you like to see some pictures?
Yes.
So this first one is of Forrest looking at his treasure that he hasn't seen in over 10 years.
The treasure that he packed when he thought he was going to die also.
Exactly. And a second picture is of the treasure, a picture taken of the treasure like literally right after it was found.
Okay. Wow.
You can see the fucking dirt you can see the dirt floor ground, you know?
Yeah. Fucking crazy. Okay, so the first picture is, what's his name again?
Forrest Fenn.
Fenn. Okay, so the treasure chest is very ornate and beautiful, and it's got a lot of gold coins and maybe a bracelet. Yeah, this is really cool. And then
here's a close-up of the contents.
Yeah, second picture is it's just like piled up in the treasure box, clearly just on the ground after it was discovered. I'm guessing this third picture is Fenn and the guy who found it.
It is.
That's so cute. That's so fucking cute.
Yeah, and then the last picture is just a closer up of the contents of the treasure. You can see coins, jewels, jewelry.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, the whole shebang. So Jack, the finder. So Jack had spent 2 years looking for this treasure, which included, like I said, gold jewelry and other artifacts, probably estimated at about $1 million. And it was in the Wyoming wilderness. He first heard about the treasure on Twitter in 2018, which I think is just so funny. Like, oh, how did you find out about this treasure? Oh, I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah. It's kind of mundane.
Decided to devote my life to it. Yeah. So this is a quote from Jack. He says, quote, I've probably thought about it for at least a couple of hours a day, every day since I learned about it.
Yeah.
Quote, every day.
Got it.
Yes, that's part of the quote.
I believe you, dude.
So this guy has been into treasure hunting since he was a kid. He was a writer who worked for BuzzFeed and The Onion. Then he decided to go to medical school. And then he learned about this hunt for the treasure, and that ended up taking up all of his time. His method was that he read every interview with Forrest Fenn. He watched every interview that he could, read his book, read the poems, studied maps, just was completely diligent about it, and took several trips out to Wyoming to search like this one area that he believed the treasure was in, and he was fucking right.
Very cool.
Yeah. So the treasure chest itself is bronze and was probably forged in the 12th century.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's bronze with a wood lining and locking clasp. Weighs about 22 pounds. So Jack is really upset about the fact that he cannot remain anonymous. He says, quote, "For the past 6 months, I've remained anonymous, but not because I have anything to hide, but because Forrest and his family have endured stalkers, death threats, home invasions, frivolous lawsuits, and potential kidnapping, all at the hands of people with delusions related to this treasure." So it's a big deal for him to reveal himself.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the safest thing to be associated with, even though it's amazing that he found it. Oh, that's so sad that something he devoted all this time to is like kind of a double-edged sword for him.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Forrest Fenn dies in September of 2020 at the age of 90. So
he made it way longer than the doctors said he would, so that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So Jack is basically sitting on the treasure because of this lawsuit. There, like I said, there is a lawsuit filed by a woman who says that Jack hacked her texts and emails to find this treasure, which I sincerely doubt.
It's kind of a stretch.
Yeah, exactly. Since finding the treasure, Jack has said that he has moved to a more secure building with guards and multiple levels of security to protect himself. And he doesn't have the treasure with him. It's in a vault in New Mexico where it's going to remain until he sells it. He says that once the time is right, he plans to sell the chest. And he's trying to honor Forrest Fenn's last wishes to have the chest be publicly displayed somewhere so that people can see the chest and its artifacts. To kind of conclude, on September 23rd, 2 weeks after Forrest Fenn passed away at his home at the age of 90, an essay was posted on Medium that was Medium, you can like self-publish essays and other writings and stuff like that, but it's called, quote, "A Remembrance of Forrest Fenn," and this was before the finder was identified, and it was said to be written by the finder. And there was a quote from it that I really liked about how he felt when he found the treasure. Quote, "I'm the person who found Forrest Fenn's famed treasure. The moment it happened was not the triumphant Hollywood ending some surely envisioned. It just felt like I had survived something and was fortunate enough to come out on the other end."
Oof.
And so, yeah, it just makes me think about all the people who embarked on this journey and did not come out on the other end.
Yeah. Ooh.
So to treasure hunting.
Good one, Soph. That was a really good one.
Yeah, I think we unintentionally had a theme of finding unexpected things.
That's right. Yeah, and our stories were a cautionary tale. Also, I would say, like, don't go treasure hunting alone. And if you're TikToking, be careful. I'm so glad they were in a group.
Yeah, I mean, well, one time Katelyn and I and another friend of ours were having a little bit of a walk.
Oh my God. I know what story you're going to tell.
We were having a little bit of an evening walk, and we were walking behind our friend's like apartment complex where it was really wooded, and our friend was like, "Oh, I have a spot where we can like hang out." And so as we're walking through the woods, we come upon this clearing, and in the middle of the clearing is a rolled up carpet.
It was really scary. And it was big. It wasn't a small carpet. And it wasn't in the middle of the road. It was like kind of off the beaten path a little bit, kind of hidden just off the main road.
And it did have all sorts of weird, suspicious looking stains on it. And as soon as we clocked it, you know, Katelyn and I looked at each other and was like, is that what I think that is?
We were very sure that it was a dead body. I was so sure that I told Sophie to go and investigate. And I told her that I couldn't investigate because I was wearing sandals.
It's one of my favorite things you've ever said to me. You go, look, I'm wearing sandals.
Well, I didn't want to get any bodily fluids on me, even though we were freaking out. I had a little bit of sense to not just go over there. And luckily, I know you're on the edge of your seat, everybody. It wasn't.
Well, I go over there to look inside the carpet. And right before I do, I turned around to them and I go, I'm not ready. And they're just both like thumbs up, like, you can do it. I look inside. Of course.
Nothing.
No dead body. Nothing.
Thank God.
But we were putting it together in our head what we were going to do because we had left our phones at our friend's house. You know, we just thought we were just going on a nice evening walk. But yeah, I am so glad that we did not encounter what those teens encountered. I don't think I could take that.
No, yeah. Anyway, I love TikTok. So keep watching TikTok. Although, let's try to keep the number of dead bodies on TikTok to a minimum.
Yeah, if you see a dead body, please do not film it and put it on the internet. I think that maybe goes without saying. I feel like we have a very much an older audience base, but like, if there is a teen listening to this, here's a lesson from your bone aunties. Don't film dead bodies and put it on the internet. It's very disrespectful.
Yeah. Well, what an episode. We've arrived at the end.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. Go ahead and go over to anythingbonespodcast.squarespace.com if you want to look at our sources. We've got some other stuff on there. Particularly
bonus content.
Yeah, particularly our bonus content, which we're very excited about, where we watch along. Well, you can watch along with us as we
enjoy an episode of
the Fox TV show
television
Bones.
show Bones. Yes.
It's so good. So if you like Bones or if you like us or whatever, just head on over to the website.
If you want to hear us in a more casual capacity as well. If you can believe it gets more casual than this.
Well, it gets a lot more loose. You'll see why if you listen. Anyway, go ahead and give us a 5-star review if you haven't. If you like us.
5 bones.
5 bones. And we love you. We'll see you next week. Bone voyage. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Anything Bones. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Anything Bones Podcast, or email us at anythingbonespodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you to Nick Kruger for our spooky music and Stephen Vetteroff
At Chubby Scrubby on Twitter.
for our jazzy vocals, and thank you to Camilla Franklin
At Camilla Strader on Instagram.
for our beautiful bony artwork. Please rate, review, and subscribe.
Don't go treasure hunting by yourself.